On the 14th of July, law enforcement officials on Long Island announced that after a 12-year investigation, they had solved the Gilgo Beach serial killer case. In a news conference, Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond A. Tierney said that authorities had arrested local architect Rex Heuermann and charged him with murdering 3 women, whose remains were found on a parkway close to Gilgo Beach in December 2010. On Tuesday, authorities charged Heuermann with a 4th murder, linked to the death of another woman who was found in the area in 2010. Police are still investigating the deaths of 6 other people whose remains were found nearby, though authorities have not indicated that Heuermann is responsible. This is the story of the Gilgo Beach killer. In December of the year 2010, Suffolk County police officer John Malia and his police dog found human remains off Gilgo Beach during a search for a different missing person. The body was identified as Melissa Barthélemy, a 24-year-old sex worker from the Bronx who disappeared in July 2009 after telling a friend she was going to meet a client. 2 days after Barthélemy's remains turned up, the corpses of 3 other women, Amber Lynn Costello, last seen on September 2nd, 2010, Megan Waterman, last seen on June 6th, 2010, and Maureen Brainard Barnes, last seen on July 9th of 2007, were found just feet apart from one another in the same vicinity. All 4 women were in their 20s and worked as escorts, 2 of which had children. Their bodies had all been bound at the ankles or feet and wrapped in burlap, and all appeared to have been strangled. In July, Heuermann was charged with the murders of only Barthélemy, Costello, and Waterman, though according to CNN, bail documents indicated that he was the prime suspect in Brainard Barnes' murder as well. 6 months after his arrest, prosecutors officially charged Heuermann with Brainard Barnes' death, citing DNA test results that they say show that a hair found on Brainard Barnes' remains belonged to Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup. In the weeks after officers found the women's bodies, they would find 6 others, 4 more women, a man, and a 2-year-old girl. Heuermann has not been charged in connection with these deaths. What is known about Heuermann? Before his arrest, he had worked as an architect and architectural consultant in Manhattan since 1987, doing projects with the city at JFK Airport and for Cipriani, to name a few clients. He lived in his childhood home in Massapequa Park with his wife of 27 plus years, with whom he has a daughter. While Suffolk County Police Commissioner described Heuermann as a, and I quote, demon that walks amongst us, a predator that ruined families. Interviews with people who knew him as a polarizing personality. Steve Kramberg, a property manager who worked with Heuermann for 30 plus years, told the New York Times that Heuermann was a, and I quote, big goofy guy, a little bit on the nerdy side. One professional acquaintance described him as overly fastidious and adversarial with everyone, while another called him cold and distant. Some of Heuermann's neighbors told the Times that he kept to himself. Meanwhile, another, Nicholas Verchor, characterized him as a sinister, and I quote, kind of creepy, and somebody you don't want to approach. If in fact Heuermann is guilty of the crimes of which he's been charged, he appears to have done a successful job of hiding it from those close to him. Harrison, the police commissioner, had told CNN that Heuermann's family was disgusted and embarrassed when they learned of what he is accused of. I quote, so if you ask me, I don't believe they knew about this double life that Heuermann was living, Harrison said. Less than half a week after his arrest, Heuermann's wife filed for divorce. Her petition is listed as uncontested in court records. How did Heuermann become a suspect? In February 2022, authorities put together the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force, made up of local, state, and federal investigators. According to the Times, the task force focused announced its investigation on cell phone data records, which showed that calls to and from the women's phone in their final days came from two main locations: Midtown Manhattan, near Heuermann's office, and Massapequa Park, near his home. In March 2022, the task force caught a break when it located a Chevrolet Avalanche truck, similar to one Costello's roommate, Dave Sharla, described seeing outside their home the day before she disappeared. In an interview with Associated Press published a week after Heuermann's arrest, Sharla said that in September 2010, he came home to find Costello hiding in the bathroom while a towering Frankenstein-like man threatened her. Sharla said he got into a fight with the stranger, who ultimately got into a truck and left. A witness, it's unclear if this is Sharla or someone else, then reported seeing a similar truck drive by the home the next day, shortly after Costello left to meet a client. Sharla said he went to the police with this information that December, telling them about the man and his vehicle. I quote, "When they told me she was dead, he was the first person who jumped into my head," Sharla told AP. "I've been picturing his face for 13 years. The task force used the vehicle's registration history and, working from Sharla's description, was reportedly able to narrow down its focus onto Heuermann, a local architect. Investigators who'd been involved with the case at different points in the past 13 years have expressed frustration that Sharla's witness testimony wasn't prioritized sooner. This oversight angers Sharla too. I quote, "I gave them the exact description of the truck and the dude," he said. "I mean, come on, why didn't they use that?" The Times reports that the testimony ended up tucked away in the case file. Authorities also collected DNA from 11 bottles taken from a trash can outside Heuermann's home in July 2022 and compared it to hairs found on 2 of the victims' bodies. Although the samples also implicated Heuermann's wife, she was out of state at the time of each murder and has not been charged. Pizza crusts tossed in the trash can by Heuermann and fished out by detectives also linked him to Waterman's remains. Prosecutors said Heuermann's internet history showed at least 200 searches for information about the investigation concerning the 4 women whose remains were found, along with searches for photos of the victims and their families. What exactly has Heuermann been charged with? The Suffolk County's District Attorney's Office has charged Heuermann with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 4 counts of second-degree murder. In July, he appeared briefly in court as his attorney entered a not guilty plea. Judge Richard Ambrose denied him bail, citing the extreme depravity of the crimes he is accused of committing, and the New York Post reported that Heuermann was on suicide watch. In January, Heuermann pleaded not guilty to murdering Brainard Barnes. What else are authorities investigating? At a news conference, the police commissioner Harrison said police were continuing to investigate the other remains found near Gilgo Beach. Even with this arrest, he told reporters, "We're not done." Deputy Police Commissioner Anthony Carter told CNN that authorities are actively investigating if Heuermann had committed any other alleged crimes. Meanwhile, Harrison told local TV program Pix 11 Morning News that while police were searching Heuermann's phone for trophies or body parts, they found a life-size doll and hundreds of guns. I quote, "Anytime somebody has that type of arsenal, we have some concerns," he told Fox News. On July the 25th, District Attorney Tierney announced that investigators had finished with the Long Island premises, having taken a backhoe, a police dog, and a ground-penetrating radar to Heuermann's backyard. Though their excavation turned up a, and I quote, "massive amount of material," Tierney said, according to CNN, they did not find any additional human remains. Earlier in the week, Harrison denied rumors that Heuermann had a soundproof room in his basement, but confirmed that he had kept a gun vault at the home. In total, police removed some 279 weapons from the site. The investigation has also expanded to Las Vegas and Chester, South Carolina, where police say Heuermann owns property. Las Vegas police have said it is reviewing unsolved cases to see if any might have connections to Heuermann. the sheriff's office in Chester received a request to seize Heuermann's truck, a Chevrolet Avalanche, which had priorly been seen by Dave Schaller on the day that Costello's life had been sadly taken. If you found this story interesting in the least, please make sure to like and subscribe, and also comment down below any recommendations for cases, preferably obscure, that you would like us to cover. And of course, rest in peace to all the victims whose lives had been taken by this vile monster.